Alright, this is a video I've thought about doing for a while. It's one I don't want to be doing. Well, you probably don't believe that. That's fine. Basically, I want to kind of talk to you a little bit and tell you my story and my experience here in Lakeland. I'm betting a lot of you don't know it. I'm betting especially a lot of you that don't like me for whatever reason. I've been told bad things about me. You've received lies about me, that sort of thing. So I want to kind of dispel some of the things that you've heard, and I want to hopefully have people think about the people that are telling them to believe these things. Start thinking a little bit more for yourself. And I don't mean that as a slight. Unfortunately, I've paid a lot of attention to national politics, and I see a lot of what's happening there also happen right here in Lakeland, and it was one of the things that drove me to this. But let me just start by telling you my story with the CCL. So I moved to Lakeland about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago now, to what me and my wife had hoped would be our dream home. We looked at 70 different houses. I'm a pretty mathematical, logical guy, and one of the things that I actually did when I was trying to decide on where I wanted to live was I created an Excel spreadsheet that had columns in it, like for every house I was actually considering. And it had things like, how far away am I from my mother? How far away am I from my father? My best friends? How much house can I afford based on the taxes of this area, the fees in that area, the insurance for that particular house, any house that was existing. I got utility bills so I could see what that looked like. I looked at schools, by the way. I considered a lot of things before ultimately deciding where I decided. But really low taxes was one of those things that really appealed to me about Lakeland. Yeah, I thought the roads looked terrible. I thought the factory outlet mall looked bad. But it had a gas station, it had a Kroger nearby, it had good schools, liked the houses, etc. Okay? So anyway, we made a purchase and decided to buy the house I'm currently sitting in right now. I want to say maybe about a year into it, around Christmas time, a neighbor came knocking on my door and, handed me a flyer and basically said, hey, if some people here have their way, your taxes are going to be going through the roof. And, that really caught my attention, obviously. I think it would catch any reasonable person's attention, by the way. So I listened and, I said, where can I find more information? And this person directed me to the CCL Facebook page. I joined. They accepted me right away. I started asking questions. And one of the earliest points I actually made was, I explained the Excel spreadsheet, and I was like, guys, look, if we do this, I got to tell you that, me personally, I don't know that I would have chosen where I chose. I mean, there are trees in other neighborhoods. Other areas have nice schools. Lakeland has no amenities. And, the term I used was like, look, if we raise taxes very high, so much so that they're higher than other areas, you compete for new home buyers. And my fear was that, and you can look this up on their Facebook page, that this would become a death spiral situation where we have no amenities, we have no fire department, no police department, old crummy factory outlet mall, no roads or crummy roads, but high taxes and an awesome school. And let me state, by the way, my beef is with particularly BOC people, not school board people. I've seen some of them do some things that I'm not thrilled about. I get that. They actually have a history of success, though, our school system here and the school board members. So my beef is not with them. It is the BOC people and what they're willing to do and what they're willing to say and how they're going about doing things. The reason I became so involved was it concerned me what I was hearing, okay? And what really got me sunk into all this really deep was this, okay? So I like to find out my own information. If you tell me something, I'll listen to you, I'll store it away in my thoughts and I'll think about it, but I don't necessarily believe you hook, line, and sinker every single thing that you've said. I want to know the source of that information. I want to know if it's true. I want to hear it from other people, because people have agendas, and people say things that support what they're already saying. They skip information that doesn't support what they're saying, etc. So anyway, I tried to join the Yes Group's main Facebook page. I forget what it is or whatever, but no one was letting me in, and I was getting a lot of pushback on the CCL page from those particular people, and some of them had completely valid good points. Some of it I would dig into, and I'm like, that's not quite right. I wasn't allowed in the other group, which made me suspicious. What is so secretive about what you're saying? You're trying to get people to come on board with what you're saying. Why are you keeping people out? So I made some phone calls, some people I knew. Basically, I finally got in. I started asking what I believed to be some reasonable questions. A guy here in Lakeland by the name of Matt Wright, who I think most of you who know me and him know there's no love lost between us. And here's why, by the way. So I was asking some questions. He was providing some answers. Some of the things that he was saying I agreed with because they were true, okay? Some of the things weren't quite true, and basically he started kind of badgering me, like, hey, admit you're wrong. I just said this and you're wrong. Aren't you going to admit it to everybody? And, it struck me as odd, like, who is this guy, And by the way, I didn't know who this person was. So anyway, I'm like, well, you're right on this, you're wrong on this, we're splitting hairs on this, okay? And he ultimately kicked me out of the group. I think I'd been in for all of 10 minutes, by the way. He kicked me out of the group. Actually, it's longer than 10 minutes. It was 10 minutes of discussion. I think I read, the content for maybe about an hour, and there's actually some good stuff in there. He kicks me out of the group, and on my device, I had a phone and I had a laptop, but on one of the devices, it didn't kick me out right away. Like, I got to see about the next 1 or 2 minutes worth of posts, and what I saw was him basically telling everybody that, and I'll have to dig up the exact post so and that kind of thing, but basically told everybody that I was in cahoots with Jim Bomprezi. This had been going on for years. I'm part of his plan or plot or scheme or whatever else, okay? I just moved here. I don't really know who Jim Bomprezi is at the time. I absolutely know who he is now. Not a fan, by the way. But he branded me and kicked me out to where I wouldn't have even seen him do it had I not had 2 devices. So at that time, imagine you're me, okay? And by the way, you come to find out that this guy's actually on your local school board. So you just get here, you're excited about your house. You're just trying to find honest answers to what's happening. I want to be a good informed voter and citizen. I want to contribute to the success of my city. And basically, here comes this guy who's willing to absolutely slander you and lie about you, and so easily provable. I just moved here. I moved here from Cordova. You think I care about Jim Bomprezi and his plot to take over Lakeland or whatever is even being considered at the time? I mean, that's crazy. So yeah, after that kind of had a bad taste in my mouth for this guy, and throughout these videos, I'll cite a lot of other examples you should be aware of too before you vote for this person. And do your own research, by the way. Don't take my word for anything. But there's a lot of people with very similar stories like mine. And that has a lot to do with why I'm sitting here making this video for you, by the way. Think of the worst politician you can, okay? Whoever that is, he didn't slide right into that. I mean, think of it a president or senator or the mayor. I mean, who, you know, I'm not calling out our mayor. I'm not calling out our mayor, by the way. But think of somebody, and, you know, they started out small somewhere, okay? And they should have been stopped then if they were doing something they shouldn't have. And I think that's where we're at with some of the people that we have here, okay? I think this is just the start for some of them, and for others continuing to do kind of what they've done in other places. But, you know, when you specifically have some type of a plan to attack and lie about other citizens to further what you're doing, you're probably not doing something on the up and up. And I've made that point a lot, you know, on Nextdoor, particularly in Facebook. I mean, there's something wrong with my argument if I have to lie to people to try and trick them into joining my side. You know, as someone who I feel has a pretty good moral upbringing and standards on how I conduct myself, you know, I would be out. You know, obviously, I've chosen the wrong side in this argument, but, you know, to, you know, lie and slander and, you know, ridicule and, you know, divide the city and pit one side against the other for your own political purposes, you know, everyone should take note to that.